What's happening, so fam? Sorry if I screamed into the mic. Gonna turn it down just a little bit. I can't tell if the color is correct. All right. Nice. So, welcome everyone. Thank you for showing up. We are going to be channeling Osiris today. So that's going to be pretty dope. If you don't know anything about Osiris, Osiris is the husband of Isis. Isis is one of the ascended masters known as the Divine Mother. She's very nurturing. Osiris was killed by his brother because his brother was jealous, and his body was scattered all across the Nile. Isis, in so much pain, gathered all of his pieces together and learned how to resuscitate him or resurrect him from the dead. And basically, he then after became Lord of the afterlife and transformation, fertility, vegetation. Very powerful ally that when you are summoning him into your reality, you better be ready for like some profound wisdom. So we do have some questions on Patreon in our member section of things that are really interesting. You might be feeling energy picking up, like surging. Allow yourself to be in the room with us right now. Osiris really has this powerful flow of energy. Allow yourself to always breathe out anything dense and anything negative. Give this video a thumbs up. Share this with as many people as you feel need to hear this, and don't forget to subscribe. We are all together in this moment right now, summoning Osiris, allowing ourselves to be in alignment with the divine energies that have taken place after this Isis moon. Taking our deep breath. I'm going to turn on a little bit of music to help me stay in the zone because the energy is really intense. This past full moon, Isis and Osiris are being the guardians of what's to come. Take a deep breath. Allow yourself to go through the gateways of reality. See a door in front of you that opens a pathway into the unknown. You are safe, you are guided. Step into this doorway. Deep breath. Step forward, see another doorway. Allow this doorway to guide you deeper into a realm unknown, into your highest self, into the highest self of
Playing from Sebastian.
Reality. Deep breath. And I'm gonna play music starting in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It is July 7th at 7:07. Let's get this started. Osiris is now ready to communicate. We are grateful, Osiris, for your wisdom, bringing it forth, allowing us to transform while in your presence. We are grateful for being one with your source and summoning this deepest aspect of self within your source. Now the floor is open. How can we tell if a past life is influencing us on our current feelings? All lives are one. All experiences are one and the same, all changing shape and color only in the form in which they represent themselves at any given time and space, in that moment under a unique perception. It is to understand that all vibration exists in the now, and every experience is a culmination of experiences once shared, once learned, once experienced, experiencing time and nothingness all at the same exact moment of your manifestation and the simplest of creations. Allow yourself to understand that the emotion or the occurrence does not lie within time, as understanding past lives have a karmic balance with the now. Yes, the perception in which you speak of, a linear understanding of time and the soul, would allow this form of manifestation to take place. When you shift your consciousness from a third dimensional understanding of the soul perspective, you understand that your soul is not linear from experience to experience. More so, your nature expands through the collective of all your experiences that you call incarnations or past regressions. For the past and the present and the future exist in the now in an infinite rotation, infinite movement, circulation. The most constant of changes is matter, and the perception in which matter is orchestrated through observation. Allow yourselves to understand that your soul is only trying to understand itself from a perspective of source. This perspective is going to allow you to understand your nature. Your nature is non-linear if your perception is non-linear. All is well, all is now. All is in the power of now. To heal ultimately is to understand that your experience in the now is experiencing itself in an echo throughout all realities. Mastering it in one reality will echo the answer through all other realities simultaneously. But to take away the division of your soul is to create something called the oversoul. The oversoul is the connection of all of your experience in the now, in the one and only true moment, that which we call God. Understand that Aten is an experience pushed further throughout all realities of the mind and cannot be fully understood, for each aspect of each creation has its primal source, the source that is prime within each and every universe. Source is an infinite array of collections of experiences from every aspect ratio and every vantage point, in depth, in linearity, and in one's own consciousness. For linear understanding of the soul uses vocabulary such as retrieval, victimization, all words that are resistant by nature and in thought are the limitation of experiencing your soul collection in the present moment. To be scattered is advantageous in certain situations and scenarios, manifested within and without. But one must understand how to gather themselves in one present time space to understand the greater collection of self and truly transcend victimization from the earthly dimension's perspective. That is all for now. That is all for this question. Is it possible that each historic religious icon all comes from, example, Osiris, Isis, and Thoth? That all of it is simply their reincarnations? Everyone take a deep breath. Let go of your minds, let go of your heart chakras, your throat chakras, and experience the vibration, the consciousness of Osiris. And the Lady Isis. All religious aspects are one. We understood them as one, as primal vibrations exist through everything in all realities, manifesting as people in this earthly dimension whenever necessary and summoned by the consciousness of those people at that time. That is to say that Osiris became earthly when the vibrations were in alignment for the manifestation of Osiris to exist within the earthly dimensional plane. As one ascends, one vibrates to alternate perceptions and dimensions. And as you expand, there are echoes of the self that continue to communicate with every essence in which you evolved from. From here is the understanding of the evolution of the consciousness of the stories of Isis and Thoth, Ra, Osiris, Ta, Sekhem, Aten, and those brothers that we feel in vibration too long to name in this earthly incarnation. To experience a constant evolution of cyclical nature was part of our original intent, switching from body to body every 100 years or so, to experience the evolution of man and guide them in new directions if necessary. When we could no longer interact with this physical world due to our lack of desire to be directly influencing, or our natural lack of resonance with this world. The echoes of our consciousness continue to communicate through the realms of dream with man, through the gates of heaven and the cemeteries, through the hearts of people when they chose to manifest. We continue to remanifest in some shape or form when people became aligned with a certain echo of our understanding. Every layer being a specificity of our consciousness, of a certain section of our wisdom. To understand the extremity of consciousness is to understand the inherent nature within every slice of DNA that exists within the human condition. All consciousness remembers its source. All consciousness remembers who it is, for all consciousness is a hologram in which it represents itself through every slander of DNA that exists within every human being, within every organic being, within every expansive star, within the depths of the nothingness of this universe. For antimatter is key to understanding the evolution of consciousness, to focus on the conclusion of matter and the represented world in the focus of light work or higher consciousness is only a limitation that does not allow us to see the greater picture of what the cosmos has to offer. For every echo creates a resonance across the cosmos, and each one of us has an echo within our consciousness to expand and be remembered through the DNA of man, the dreams of man, the experiences of man, as we have throughout the centuries. It is simply an echo of self-existence and self-understanding that allows us to persist within your world, consciously being referenced, even as a pastime, but always brought back to a resonating truth that lies deeply within each and every individual. For all gods are merely immortal men, and all men are just mortal gods. Take a deep breath. We may now proceed to the next answer. I want to kind of like touch on that last one. That one kind of feels, what I understood from that was like your vibration is what dictates the longevity of your existence. Doesn't matter what level of consciousness you exist at, people will still be able to communicate and see and interact with your consciousness at some degree once you found your purity. And then I kind of at the same time saw like when someone dies, right? When somebody dies, like if we really care about them, their vibration doesn't cease to exist, right? And if that person really had an impact on the world, then it's harder to forget that person. And we see that through history, we see that with our own experiences with our loved ones. And that's essentially what he's trying to say, is like that vibration of greatness they attained by knowing themselves and giving themselves wholeheartedly to their own experiences, which evolved the collective consciousness around them. And that's what really made them like exist for eons throughout people's dreams and like personal experiences and imagination. It was all about this experience of just simply being. And when you have come to understand yourself wholly and 100% in the positive and the negative, that's what you come to understand as godly, because you have this dualistic aspect that you're biased to just because of this perception of like being in this body and being multidimensional. And then when you step into understanding the multidimensional, you start understanding it expansively under a third dimensional like comprehension. And then you get to a point where you realize that you're trying to understand multidimensionality through a third dimensional lens. And you get to this point where you have to evolve beyond that into a state of unknown, which is constantly recreating itself to give you an experience of your own evolution. And like when you really tap into like that force, you create more waves and you record yourself like deeper into the cellular memory of the collective consciousness of it, and in all the people that you moved. It's similar to like healing, you know, when you heal a person and you give them the opportunity to really like change and they grow and they're like, oh my God, I can't believe it. Like you totally changed my life, right? You kind of like, you have this bond with that person and you shift their life. And when you've shifted their life, then you kind of just feel like you added a ripple to the greater ocean of all existence. And that person will share their experience with you to other people, and it keeps kind of like growing. And the more people that you shift drastically or magically, the longer your voice is heard in the greater ripples of lower dimensional matter. It's very powerful. I see like all these diagrams. Taking on a deep breath. So I'm trying to read the next one. Deep breath. I'm gonna start giving you guys Osiris energy right now. Just accept it. So is the understanding of Osiris being the god of resurrection and death show us how duality and death are the first passage points of ascension for our current dimension? Yes and no. To experience death and resurrection is only necessary when one has fallen far from their original vibration by falling into polarity. We all die at a given moment when we choose to evolve, or we are forced to snap back into place into our neutrality. Only death is ever necessary for a major shift within dimensional plateaus of consciousness. That is to say, to change the acceleration to a higher volume within your consciousness, you would then have to embrace death and rebirth, or death specifically for a prolonged matter of existence desirable to the Creator until a moment of rebirth would be necessary. For all possibility is existing in the now, and there is no necessary abruption to create from death or to die from creation. There can be an absence of understanding, or what could be understood as prolonged time, and any one state for however long the Creator chose to experience that vibration. To experience the evolution of self, one could easily experience rebirth within the same spectrum of vibration. And expansively in all directions. Please explain. Okay, so basically I'm hearing that like if reality, and I saw a diagram, so like when we're moving through reality, there's like this aspect where if you're trying to like essentially from a linear point raise yourself, raise your vibration, you would have to die to get to the next level because you're changing the dynamics of your reality. If you are trying, you can be horizontal instead of vertical, which is exploring the same level of plateau across in a bunch of different experiences, which would just be constant rebirth. You could be in a constant state of rebirth or a constant state of death, or a level of death until you chose to change your ascension point. As a creator, you don't have to necessarily die and create at the same time or rebirth yourself. You can stay in one state until certain aspects fall into place. And I see like a vortex, almost like summoning certain energies for your creation. It's the true power is being able to throttle and control how much death and rebirth you can actually experience back and forth in your reality, for your full understanding and pleasure of the ride that we do call life. That was crazy. There's a second part to that question, Osiris. If this is correct, when you reach a level of a higher dimension, are you still like finding death? And he says like this is understandably the same. So yeah, like the second part to that question is like even when you're in another dimension as well, like you're perpetually dying and you're perpetually rebirthing yourself to experience a higher dimensional reality. You have to, or you could just stay in a plateau of reality without having to die, because every reality would have like an expanse of infinity that you could explore without having to transcend that consciousness, just understanding the same singular point from a different like slice of reality. What ways can we improve fertility and ensure healthy conception? What way can we improve fertility and ensure healthy conception? Deep breath. Fertility is simple. It requires a healthy diet full of fresh water and plenty of minerals. A mineral high diet will increase the chances of a higher fertility within the woman and a higher brain capacity for the child. It must be understood as well that the mother must release all fear and doubts of the self towards the baby. Whether or not the child is born, that fear in which the mother may have towards the conception of this child may hold that being back from being manifested, as fear is a stronger anchor within the birthing process of fertility. All manifestations exist in the now, and if one mother can understand that her child has always existed in the now and has simply awaited her alignment of consciousness with their conception, a spirit will be born within the reality in which that mother makes her connection. It is heavily understood that the divine is the birthing chart of all divine creatures. That is to say, that the divine exists within the womb, the heart, the mind, and the expanse of the environment to create the most fertile union between man and woman, which then creates life. Though many may manifest a child under other conditions, this is the highest guidance I prescribe to any mother choosing to have a child in any point in time. All mothers may manifest a child simply through a lack of self-understanding, which can create karma, a sense of duty, which is still built in karma, a sense of mission, which is still bent in karma, or a sense of purpose, which is done in understanding and self-acceptance, and a sense of simply existing, which will always be neutral and non-influenced by external matters. Take a deep breath. Understanding the nature of the cosmos within the womanly figure that is to become a mother is the greatest answer of all creation itself. Understanding oneself like the great goddess Neith and the great goddess Isis and the great goddess Ma'at and the great goddess Bastet and the great goddess Hathor. The vibration may echo on through the womanly figure, but the divine womb is the manifestation itself, and there is no restriction within the vessel of woman that can stop her from creating any manifestation in which she seeks. For she is the birther of all universes, the great divine mother herself. Take a deep breath. That is all for now. Please explain. Okay, so for that one, basically, you have to put yourself in this position of understanding that you have, like, your mind, your fears, your habits, your diet, everything is incorporating into the manifest of the child. And, like, through multidimensional reality, your child exists in the now. And if you want that being to come through super fertile, your consciousness has to align yourself with that version of itself coming through you, but you also being the mother and knowing that you're destined to be the mother without any other flaw in your manifestation. There is not even a manifestation, it's a simple act of knowing and existing and focusing on the fact that you're bringing in manifestation itself. You're not bringing in a child, you're not bringing in a soul. You're bringing in source itself. You're bringing in manifestation itself through the divine womb, because just like Neith, it encompasses like the universe and the cosmos, and Isis, it is the divine mother that teaches us how to expand ourselves by testing ourselves and knowing ourselves. Like the divine mother, the divine womb that exists within every woman is only as powerful as her conviction and her knowledge in knowing that she can create anything at any given moment. It just has to do with her vibration and her truest desire. So to create the most fertile child, your vibration must be in complete alignment in every aspect of yourself, not just consciousness, but actual vibration of existence to bring that child through. And he also did state like that was his recommendation to achieve maximum fertility. It has to be like this purification of every aspect, almost like you're a priestess. He did say like there are beings that bring children through that are not like this, but obviously they're not the highest consciousness of energy itself. It's almost as though he showed me like source takes the form of a soul after a certain like vibrational aspect of source has been called upon to bring forward. So you would take a chunk out of source and say, oh, okay, this is the vibrational chunk that I could take off, and then it changes into a soul, which changes into a baby, which then changes into the experience of motherhood. So the more clearer your vibration, the better chunk out of source you can use to form a soul to bring through this world. And that not only will create a higher vibrational creature for this world, but it would also be very healing for the mother, because the mother would feel like she would literally feel like she's carrying the highest vibration of source herself. Any advice on spiritual growth during this period of transition on Earth? Yes. We must understand that the unity of all is necessary for the expansion of all involved. You are understanding how one has always been all. Your inner dialogue is switching from I and we's to all and alls. Take a deep breath. Understanding the unity of now is also understanding the unity of self. Understanding that all need the specialty of self that each individual carries on with themselves. That is to say, when you harness your energy, you experience expansion within the collective, and we can focus understanding the all through all unified telepathic force. Take a deep breath. This world is coming to an end. Those in power that seek to keep it in control will fight until they divide the polarity of this universe into an alternate existence. Many will have to face deep levels of understanding for themselves and the higher aspects of their creations. It will be difficult at times, for the matter that is created through illusion will test us into staying attached to experiences and conveniences that once seemed to work and are scary to walk away from to experience something new. Take a deep breath. Those in power will fight to keep those at a lower vibrational level enslaved to their ever-expansive sense of self. Some will expand to a higher reality that dualistically is experienced and witnessed, but the effects will be unaffected compared to those fully immersed within that illusionary matter. Take a deep breath. Understanding that one can save all by saving oneself, and sharing that vibration expansively is all that's needed for the simplicity of a transition that is smoother within the internal consciousness. It is those that harmonize their highest vibration that will have the easiest transition. I recommend not to fall into the trap of ascension in the terms of a linear understanding of escalation. Understand that higher, accelerated are only definitions of a vibration that is attained through mere experience. An experience that transcends manifestation, as the manifested is only that which was observed. The manifested was just that which was observed. Understand that now the answer that you seek is beyond words. It is merely an experience. It is a form of being that allows all things to fall into their place. For each source of the infinite source has found themselves through a dying world and one being rebirthed for the highest collection of all. In this moment, You are experiencing the vibration of Orion and Osiris as a collective movement in the division of your reality for a higher and lower vibrational existence in parallel realities that are simultaneously collapsed, one upon the other, drifting ever so softly away from each other as the development of each personal universe collapses itself deeper into a version of polarity. It is necessary for an individual to understand in this moment, during all the events taking place all over the globe, that a being must master duality within themselves, not just light and dark, male and female, the above and below, but the expanse of existence and non-existence. For that will allow you to step through the doorways of parallel realities with ease, without resistance. It will seem illusionary to those around you, and the disappearance of the shifts in reality will be ever so subtle, until there is a moment where it's almost completely forgotten, remembered from a distant universe, as those who have always been vibrating with you have always been and always are, and the illusion of separation would have never occurred, for all is collapsed one upon another. All that is changed is a perception of vibration within the same systematic universe that is ever collapsed one upon itself and another. That is all for now. That is all for this question. Well, that was kind of cool. Yeah. You vibrate. Like, the biggest thing about this transition right now is shifting. Just letting things take place while we master ourselves to evolve in our reality. Yeah, that was really powerful. How can we connect to our past lives and learn from them? Take a deep breath. This will be the last question for today. How we can tap into our past lives and learn from them. Your past lives are all now. Yes, they are now, and they're all within the mind. All one must do is recollect that they choose to recall a memory within their mind. Mind will generate the thought, and the thought will become manifest. And the manifest will bring back the information of which you seek to remember, recollect. Understand that your evolution does not entirely lie within your soul incarnations and your past lives as you understand them. Understand that knowledge from these lifetimes do become suitable during your adventure in any one sleeve of existence or incarnation. You have all you need and all the talents from the collection of every lifetime located within your sleeve. It is unnecessary to remember and recollect every incarnation, though some do for greater reasons than we speak of today. Understand that you simply are in every moment, unified with every aspect of self, every incarnation, all their skills and their knowledge. You're ever so softly intertwined with the same people in similar skins, remembered through vibrations, experiencing the same experiences until once awoken and taken further into the light of self-ascension. It is important to understand that though some may recall their past lives, it is only therapeutic to a certain degree. For what you want to experience is the vibration of your highest lifetimes. For that will unlock the highest potential of your reality. You must allow yourself to meditate and relinquish your life here to become one with the life in another universe. And when it is time to return, you must die in that universe and return to this universe. Every time you travel between incarnations, you shift your original point from which you left. That is to say that you are never the same once you return, simply because your incarnation is rebirthed. Once you travel, the time between travel will vary between the attachments you have in each world. If you relinquish all loved ones, expectations, self-understandings, the cosmos itself, you will experience a longer state of existence in a parallel life. What may seem as minutes in one dimension will seem like years in another. It is all due to perception of mind and the anchors in which mind has created attachments for the ego and the subconscious to grasp onto for the greater illusion of one individual sustained universe within the greater collective of all source that is. Take a deep breath. Allow yourself to explain, and I will depart you now in this instance. Thank you, Osiris, for being with us and for sharing your knowledge. We are grateful, we are grateful, we are grateful. We are ever present with your power through this month. Guided by the Divine Mother Isis, we are grateful, we are grateful, we are grateful. Okay. So I think I answered everyone's questions on Patreon. I did have a couple questions of my own, but I was so like deep in it that I wasn't really able to like even remember my own questions. How did that end up working out for you guys? Type out a little comment. Let me know how that was for you guys. Were you able to follow along? Was it too deep? Was it non-coherent for you? I'm super curious. A lot of it was very telepathic and deep in nature, and understanding that like death is just literally just a shift. It has nothing to do with anything that we've ever thought about death being. It's just a reallocation of the material of energies around us to create something new. And like if you absorb death by changing the definition of death and changing the weight, like you can't just change the word death. Like you got to change the perception of the word death. Like you got to take away its power of saying that it's life and death, right? You got to allow the definition to mean something that allows you to comprehend the transmutation of your energy. Let's see here. Oh no. Oh, here we go. Great, awesome. So I'm gonna just flip through some of these. Continue recreation of harmony and balance, love and light from all. See what else we got in here. Crazy hiccups refusing to go away right now. Yup. Love and abundance. Someone felt that deeply when they were having their 2 children. Amazing, understood everything. Good, that was incredible. Answered many questions. I channeled twice since class on Friday, both along with similar lines. King Solomon Thoth, the Atlantean. Yeah. Cool. These were all questions that completely resonated with what I've been thinking about and healing the last couple of days. Thank you. My pleasure. I'm really glad that was able to be something that could help you. I've been channeling Osiris for a hot minute, and on Patreon, it was really cool to see like his energy on the full moon tarot. It was just like, whoa, like so intense. And he's been teaching me a lot about kind of like letting everything that I know as the aspect of being like human to just die. If I let it just die and say that, you know, if every bit of information of experience, if every experience, everything I've ever done is like a piece of matter, right? And it constructs all of reality, every little piece of matter. If I choose to let go of that reality, which is constructed of these little pieces of matter of my own reality and understanding, then I can bend more drastically reality to my favor. And it was very, very, very powerful. It's just, it changes the dynamics of how you bend alchemy, because you're not bending like full concepts, you're bending like this alternate perception. It's like you're in a dream and you understand that you're dreaming from a dream, from a dream, from a dream, from a dream. So I'm just going to move every dream from a different layer in unison to make the manifestation present itself. It was actually pretty cool what I've been learning with him. So I'm really glad to be sharing some of the stuff that we're going to be doing on Patreon as well. I'm going to be sharing a lot of like death and rebirth alchemy, some of my personal alchemy as Autumn Raw. I'm also going to be sharing a lot of shadow work type stuff that we're going to be doing too. And it's all about your soul being rebirthed this month and using all the retrogrades. Even if you're watching this way beyond the retrogrades, all of these messages still apply to you. If you have access to the Isis channeling, definitely combine that understanding with this understanding, and just allow yourself to keep absorbing Osiris's energy for the next month, and allow Isis to kind of show you synchronicities into your reality and point you to the right way of what you need to do. If you're looking for one-on-one coaching, go ahead and click on the descriptions below and set up a free clarity call with me, and we'll see if you're a good fit. I'm sending you all my love. Don't forget to subscribe, comment, share. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you in our next video.